If you're getting close to the end of your nursing education, knowing how to write a very good CV is very important, because once you graduate, the next thing is that you are going to start doing job applications either locally or internationally. I've already made a video where I spoke about supporting statements that I wrote when I was applying for my job in the UK. If you've not watched that video, I'll link it up here and down in the description box below. But in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a very simple guide on how to write a nursing CV for beginners. Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're here for the first time, hi, my name is Busari Imoliayo. I am a Nigerian registered nurse and midwife, and I'm also a United Kingdom registered nurse. On this channel, I film content related to nursing and healthcare. So if you're interested in content like that, do click on the subscribe button to join the YouTube family, and also on the bell icon so you don't miss out when I drop another amazing video. All right, so because I don't want to forget what I want to say in this video, because I understand how crucial CVs are, I've made a list of things I need to talk about on my mobile phone, and sometimes you might find me looking down at my mobile phone like from time to time in this video. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about is what a CV is exactly. Like, what exactly this CV, everybody's even saying that. What's even CV? So CV is actually an acronym for curriculum vitae. At least that is how I pronounce it, and it is a detailed document that outlines your educational background, professional experience, skills and achievements. And when would you have to write a CV? Obviously, it is when you are trying to either apply for a job with an employer, you're trying to apply for internship, or you're just trying to apply for either a grant or something. Like when you're trying to apply for something, that is when you would have to most likely submit a CV. So what exactly should your CV contain? I've already outlined that in the definition. So what should you do if you want to write a nursing CV specifically? Now, why I am basing this as a nursing CV video is because that is where I have experience. I have never had to write a CV for any other job role that is not nursing. So I don't know if there are other requirements for other professionals in their CV. So just know that this is a nursing CV video. There are certain things you need to avoid when you're writing a CV, because if these things are in your CV, whoever is reading it is probably going to be uninterested from the get-go, and they may not even get to the main or important parts of your CV, and that may cost you an opportunity to get that job you're applying for. So the first thing you need to avoid are typo and grammar errors, because if these are in your CV, they make a very poor first impression. So when you make a CV, always like take your time to proofread it after you're done, to make sure that there are no typo errors. We're still talking about mistakes. You've not gotten to writing the CV yet, so just hold on. Another thing you need to avoid when writing a CV is including irrelevant information. Now, if you're applying for a nursing job and you are applying and you're putting information about how you were a baker, or how you were a fashion designer, or how you were a model in that CV, it is irrelevant, because what you're applying for is a nursing role, and most of these things that you're putting there are not what is required. So take for example, if I am trying to apply for a job as a bedside nurse, and I am including my experience as a YouTuber, I am including my experience as an online nursing tutor, or I am including my social media experience into the CV that I'm using to apply for a bedside nursing role, it doesn't really make sense, and it makes me look completely unserious. So you should try to avoid including irrelevant information in your CV. Another thing you should avoid is using a generic CV. So let's say you have like a CV for nursing basically, and you're applying for two jobs. You're applying for a job in a cardiology ward, you're applying for another job in an orthopedic unit, and you're applying for another job in, let's say, a neonatal unit. Now, although you are a general nurse, you may want to tailor your CV to what you're applying for. So if you want to apply for a cardiology ward job, you may want to like stock your CV up more with the cardiology experience that you have, either as a student nurse, as a volunteer. When it gets to the orthopedic CV, maybe you've done your posting, you've done an orthopedic posting, and you have like 1 to like 5 months experience in the orthopedic world, those are what you want to like put at the forefront of your CV. You can put other general nursing experiences like below that are relevant. You can't be not begin, nursing itself is very broad, okay? So you can't be applying for a job in an orthopedic unit and you're trying to show that you were a clinical instructor. It may not really be relevant at that particular time. You are better off including your experience even as a student nurse in an orthopedic ward than working as a clinical instructor. So you just need to know what exactly you're applying for and tailor your CV to match those things. Another thing you should avoid is poor formatting, and finally also avoid being too vague. Just imagine you are writing, instead of writing something like I worked in a very busy ward, you may want to put in something like I worked in a 20 bedded unit. Like, be more specific, with people of various medical surgical conditions. Don't just say you work in a busy ward. What do you mean by busy ward? Do you get? So you have to be very, very specific and not vague. So those are some of the mistakes you should avoid if you're trying to put together a CV. So now let's get into the writing of the CV. So from my experience, the first thing that should be on top of your CV is your contact information, which should be your name, your phone number, your email, like how they can get back to you. You don't necessarily have to put your address, your state of origin, except like if it is a job that they are using catchment areas. But if it's an international job, you don't just put like your nationality Nigerian. You don't have to start putting I'm from Kiniko local government, or it may not be, seriously, it may not be relevant. What they need is your name, your phone number, your email address, and probably your nationality if it's like an international job. Then if it's like a local job, you may want to put the state where you're from, especially if you're from the state where that hospital is located. So then, for example, you're applying to a hospital in Osun State and you're from Osun State, you may want to include that you are from that state, because the employers may want to use like area or like catchment area, or like should I say indigenous type of um data to employ people to that hospital. That, like, you just need to know what you're doing. So that's why the CV you want to write for job A is going to be different from the CV you want to write for job B. You just have to take your time. After your contact information, another thing you should include in your nursing CV is your professional summary. Your professional summary should be very interesting. It should be something good to read. And that should talk about just like a summary of where you've worked, how you are, who you are as a nurse, type of experience that you have, and what you're looking for. It may not be more than like 6 to 10 lines, but it has to be like something very catchy. Is that professional summary is like the trailer of a movie you're about to watch. Just imagine you watch the trailer of a movie and the trailer of that movie is very interesting. Yes, you will want to go to the cinema, you want to buy that ticket, or once the movie is out on Netflix, you will want to go and watch it. But if the trailer is trash, like it's not even interesting, even when they tell you, oh, the movie is out, I'll watch that movie later. So your professional summary is like the trailer of your CV, and you have to make sure that it is very, very catchy. So once you're done with your professional summary, list all your nursing education or degrees from the most recent. So if you have a PhD or you have a master's, the first thing you should put is your master's. Don't go and start from your RN, or don't go and start from, you're putting your educational background, you are starting from primary school. No. Start from the most recent, your university education, then maybe college, secondary school, primary school. That is, sometimes they don't even care about your primary school, but you can also put it just to prove that you have like a primary education. But what they want to see, if it's a nursing job, they want to see the school of nursing that you went to, or the nursing qualifications that you have. So you start from the most recent and down to the first one. After your educational background, the next thing you want to put is your professional experience. Where have you worked as a nurse? And you may want to also start from the most recent. A mistake you should not make is that if you have student nursing experience that is relevant to that job you're applying for, please put it. If you have volunteering experience, all those free works that you have done, maybe you were, okay, this is a very, very funny situation, but this is something I have seen happen. You were probably dating a doctor, you were dating a doctor when you were in nursing school, and that your boyfriend's father had a hospital that you used to go and work, as per future father-in-law, those kind of things. Those experience, my dear, collect reference for it. Don't waste it, especially when even think they'll not end up marrying you. But If you have experience that you're volunteering in somebody's hospital, all of you that volunteer in your father's hospital, your mother's hospital, your uncle's hospital, your boyfriend's mother's clinic, your boyfriend's father's pharmacy, gather all your experience. As long as it is relevant to that job you're applying for, please include it in your professional experience. So all the hospitals that you've worked that are relevant to that post, except it's a very general post, if they say they are just looking for RNs and it's like a general employment, not like specifically for your ward, you can put every and anything, any experience that you have from nursing. But if it is a specific role you're applying for, like a specific ward or a specific unit, all the experience that you have that are relevant to that, include it. Even if it is student nursing experience, volunteering experience, please put everything. Don't waste your experience. That experience you think is not important might be the one that will actually like catch your employer's attention. Other things you should include in your nursing CV are your skills. Maybe you are skilled in BLS, ECG, all those extra skills that you've taken trainings for. You should include that in your CV as well. Your licenses from other organizations, probably you are registered in different countries. Probably you schooled in somewhere like Congo, then came to Nigeria, did adaptation, got Nigerian license, and you're trying to apply for a job in UK. Please include all those licenses and qualifications, extra qualifications that you've gained as a nurse. You can also include that in your CV. Next thing you can also put are additional sections. Now, these additional sections could include affiliations that you have with certain organizations, volunteering, all those things. Just can put it into additional sections. But this is not where you start putting your hobbies that are not relevant. Don't go and put hobbies, gaming, hobbies, TikTok, when you're applying for a nursing job. You can put hobbies, things like, oh, volunteering with, do you get things that are just relevant? Don't go and put hobby, hairstyling in a nursing job. It may not be relevant, but maybe hobbies, volunteering with religious organizations to give free healthcare, that might be a hobby for you that may also be relevant to what you're applying for. Finally, in this video, I want to give a very clear difference between supporting statement, CV, and cover letter. I already made a video about supporting statements. I'll link it up here and down in the description box below. You can watch that, and I have various samples of supporting statements. But just so you understand that these three things are not the same thing. So let's start. The supporting statement is usually a part of the application process where you have to address specific questions or criteria set by the employer. It is different from a cover letter, where a cover letter is like a one-page document that accompanies your CV. It introduces you, explains why you're interested in the position, and briefly highlights how your skills and experience are good in it. While the CV is like a sectioned document that you have so many informations that I have mentioned earlier on in this video. One simple way, if you're going to be doing an application online, for example, you see all those parts that they will ask you, what is your name? You fill in your name. What experience? You fill in this one. You fill in that one. Your work experience. You fill in those ones. Those are your CV. Do you understand? Then there's going to be a section where they will ask you to write supporting statements. Then you write like maybe a 1,000 word supporting statement and impute it. It's usually part of the application. But a cover letter is like an introduction of yourself, just like letter. So that is what the cover letter is. So it accompanies your CV, and employers will determine what they want. They may say submit a cover letter. Some will say it's supporting statement they want. Some will say it's just your CV they want. Some will say it's just CV, it's both the CV and cover letter that they want. So your employer would actually determine which of these documents they require for the employment process. I hope I've not talked too much in this video, but if you want to see my videos, more of my videos, on this playlist here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.